Hey everyone, and this is Jeremy. Welcome back to Pokemon Gold. This is turn 55, right? I think, where we are playing Cyanwood City. Let's jump into the turn. Okay, so a whole lot of stuff going on as per normal. So Cameron the photographer has successfully empowered himself in fire. Nothing with Auspex. Got one in with Augury. Caves of Glowing Moss up here in Farron Mountains. So this is a +1 fire gem site, so that's nice. Nothing with Dark Knowledge, nothing with Haruspex, nothing with Gnome Lord, nothing with Apsu. We got a Dire Portent. Jasmine, the Earth Monster, Princess of the Rock, Lady of the Spring, has wounded the Earth. He has drilled a well of such depth it's tapped into an artery of the earth itself. So people who are familiar with the game know instantly this means someone has cast Earthblood Deepwell, and we don't even have to guess someone. If it's not us, it's sure as shit not Olivine City, which means it has to be Pewter City. So, well, it doesn't have to be Pewter City, but the most likely individual is Pewter City. I've already verified this. Yes, it is indeed Pewter City. Pewter City has cast Earthblood Deepwell, so this changes a lot of stuff for us. Okay. We did find a maze in Great Dunes, +2 Astral. So I want to say, actually, because we just got a Garden of Pearls over here last turn, +2 Astral, then a maze over here this turn, +2 Astral. That's really good luck with this Arcane Probing. Then we have another Dire Portent. An unnatural vigor has come upon the world of the people. Their woes, their pains, their very mortality is being sucked away from them. So, Atlantis has cast Well of Misery. So, Well of Misery being cast by someone I'm actually super okay with, because Well of Misery also, not only does it give him Atlantis 20 death gems per turn, but it actually increases income globally by 10%. And I'm perfectly fucking fine with that. Global income increase of 10% means that the people that are at the top, like me and Pewter, are going to benefit the most from that. So, then got nothing with our second Apsu. Okay, so that's some. The Well of Misery we're okay with. The Earthblood Deepwell, we will talk about that here later. But that is definitely a big thing, a big change of plans now. So let's jump into the battles and see what happened this turn. Successful in Debrithia, successful in Kitala, successful in Hobergdorf. We got Trouble Bog was taken back away from us. We attacked in Windsong Forest, and were successful in taking Windsong Forest. That's really nice. We were successful in Iron Peaks, and I don't remember doing this, but this was like, oofledy-doofledies, right? The fact that we actually did this is kind of crazy. But, so that was done, and we were successful. And we were successful in Ograthon, right? Lost a little bit to Province Defense, but this was a counter raid, no big deal. We attacked in Banded Hills, and we were pretty much slaughtered. However, we did kill a schoolgirl in doing that, so that's always a bonus. Definitely not going to complain there. We attacked in Lost Canyon range, so this is a big deal. We got a couple of things going on here. Basically, we killed a schoolgirl, and now we have Lost Canyon range under siege and cracked. We won in Spires of Ascension, and then this is the battle in Violet City. And I'll pop in real quick just to check, but nothing has really changed too terribly much. One of these Steelixes has a Vine Shield, the rest are as equipped as they normally are. The guitarists are equipped as they normally are, etc. So, we ended up killing I think a schoolgirl. Yeah, we ended up killing a schoolgirl, which is nice. You know, no huge loss, but nice. And then we have Unexpected Event in World Pillar, -20 population, unfortunate. -2 Dominion, unfortunate. Big ol' fucking pile of gold gained here. That's amazing. 1,500 gold. And this is I'm gonna point this out. Between last turn and this turn, our at the beginning of the game we had a series of incredibly good luck events, right? But we've gone, and it's not that we've had like a bunch of bad luck. We've just had the kind of like mediocre luck, right? But we've suddenly had the windfall where that's all turned around, right? Between last turn and this turn, we have had some really good luck. And it's not just because of this. So this is nice. This is very, very nice. Vision's Foe is nice. We got a lumber construct. A fortified village complete. Lost Canyon is breached. Dragonscale Mountains, that's where we just have Eradicate sitting. Got some stuff promoted, cured, and then suddenly we get another Lutadora. So this is crazy good. Okay. We get another Lutadora. I just got items on her because, right? It buffs up her research, so she's researching right now. And I was just checking to see kind of like what can I do with Water 5. The answer is not really a whole bunch right now. I can do some stuff in water, but I don't have any water to use. But yeah, so, but regardless, another Lutadora on the board is another big deal for us. Bunch of good stuff. Okay, so let's actually take a look at what the world looks like as far as we can see it. We're kind of eating Olivine City. If we take a look, we are there. That's a drastic drop. Like getting rid of all the other people here real quick. Like Pewter, because he's so fucking far away, it doesn't matter. But that is a pretty big swing. Now I do expect it to swing back this next turn, right? I expect us to fall back to about where we were as he counter raids. But this is a big deal, right? We are definitely hurting him. If we pop over to income, right? His income is it's still kind of like a little bit of an upswing, and this is because of Violet City and the Well of Misery, but it's still pretty bad. His gym income also still pretty bad. His research still pretty bad. Army size is and has been, right? Because he's not trying to build 50,000 things. All of his money is going basically into Steelixes and thugs and mages, etc., right? So this is a big fucking deal. Turn everyone back on. Wish there was like a all on, all off button. So, the strangling, I think, is working, but obviously we're not going to be able to take him out unless we put Boot to Heal and actually start taking some fortresses. We are coming up with a couple of different plans for that. Basically, I think I'm going to start putting together a massive army. And it's going to be the fuck you Olivine City army, and we're going to have to see what we can do about it. But for now, we're going to continue to raid as much as we can. So you'll see we're bouncing around in a couple of different locations. But more specifically, we are going to storm the castle here in Lost Canyon Range. And this is dicey, right? This is very dicey. I'm not leaving Zinville with any anti-ethereal support. Because I'm... for a number of reasons, right? I'm worried that he's going to try to cloud trapeze a couple of guitarists in here, and I do not want to lose Gilgamesh or Ishkur. Gilgamesh and Ishkur I'm both sending over to Forest of Gun, because they can pop it in pretty much one turn, right? And this is risky to let Zinville attack this on his own. But I've been saying this for a little while, right? I got to start taking some risks, and I feel like I can afford to take some risks. If I lose Zinville here, okay, fine. That's not a big deal. It is what it is. We're counter raiding it, or we're raiding in a couple of other places. pulling out in a couple of other places. We're actually like Limerick has like no more people to fight with. Dolgad has one person to fight with, so we're actually going to go to Trouble Bog and then bounce up from there. Wiglia, we've been on our slow, route out of Olivine's area, etc. But also another thing you might see is I'm going to start pulling Battle Girl rubies out of Olivine's territory. Not all of them, just the ones that are kind of in random odd spots, right? Because of the raiding that I'm doing so much of, they're not instilling uprisings much anymore. And because of the sheer focus that I've put on Olivine City for the last 30 turns, basically, I've kind of gotten to the point to where I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world, and I need to know what's going on in the rest of the world if I'm going to be able to try to win it in the long run. So we'll see how that goes. So that's basically the Olivine City front. Moving down to the Saffron City front. So we've got Simios over here. He is an Earth 5, so we were going to send him to Cyanwood City, right? The plan was going to be, if he's Earth 5 or 6, he's going to Cyanwood City, then we tank all of our, we alchemize all of our gems, we get a strong Earth Blood Deep Well, and we go from there. We're not going to do that. Why are we not going to do that? For a number of reasons. The main one being that Pewter City has put up Earthblood Deep Well. But the real reason, right, being is that Pewter City has had Pewter City has had a crazy amount of gem income for a very long time. And I cannot say for certain. I don't think if I alchemize everything that I'm guaranteed. If I thought I was guaranteed, if I alchemize everything, I'm guaranteed to get this Earthblood Deep Well away from him, then I would do it automatically. But I don't know that I am. I absolutely do not know that I am. And my other concern, right, is his research. Well, I say not my other concern. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get it, so I'm not going to try, okay? I'm not going to take the chance of losing that many gems to putting up Earthblood Deep Well. I'll try to dispel it later on in the game, probably. But I'm not going to alchemize my entire bank to try to steal it away from him and then fail and be left with nothing. Okay? So what are we going to do instead? Actually, we'll talk about that at the end of it. We're going to do all of the fronts first. But suffice to say, I am still sending Simios to Cyanwood City. I've got a little bit of a plan going on there. He's geared out with random stuff. Mostly I just put Boots of Quickness on him so that he could get there anyways, and then I just put all the rest of this gear on him just because then it wouldn't be sitting in my bank. But it's we're probably going to take it off of him. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But we are continuing to recruit Steelix champions here. Probably going to continue to recruit Steelix champions for the rest of the fucking game. And thus, Robodan is going to continue to patrol for right now. We're doing a couple little things. We had close to like 3,500 gold this turn. Actually, maybe a little more. We had a crazy amount of gold. We had almost 4K gold. So we're recruiting a bunch of stuff everywhere. And we're probably going to start... We did end up building a wooden fort here because we just had the money. We're building giraffe rigs over here. We're building manders basically all over the place, right? Our income is insane. We're getting almost 2K income per turn, or actual usable income, right? So whenever we get a gold event like that, it's just... we just get so much that we can do. So we're going to try to take advantage of that. So that's what's going on in Saffron City. In the Violet City front, we're actually kind of just pulling back, right? This is a very scary army. This can really hurt us. We have to be very careful about dedicating a force to fighting that. And because of that, I've actually been in conversation with Violet City themselves. They're still in the game, right? He still has, if we look at the score graphs, right, province-wise, Violet City is just behind me, right? So they still have a crap ton of provinces. You look, they still stretch from here to here. So this is basically all them, right? And that's pretty interesting. So I've talked to Honored or Violet City about where he's at. It was pretty obvious he brokered some sort of peace once I came into the war. I get it, that's fine, no big deal. But now there's this opportunity of if he's willing to fight this section, because I've rated all of this, right? But I don't really necessarily. I mean, I like having the money from it, but I don't think I'm gonna hold on to it easily. Okay, so if he comes in and he starts raiding this, that's fine. As long as he makes it to where Violet City isn't my problem anymore. If Violet City is my problem still, then Violet City and I are gonna have a problem. is gonna be the issue, right? So I'm trying to see how that kind of shakes out. If depending on the situation, right? I might have to go from Olivine to Violet, right? I might have to just immediately jump into a war. I am fine. I've done a lot of fighting and dying over here, but I'm fine with Violet City taking his cap back as long as I get most of the rest of the territory that I fought for, right? And from there, we have a bunch of different options. But that's not to say that this war is over. Olivine City is still an incredibly dangerous threat, and they're still probably going to kick my ass at the end of the day. I'm planning for them beating me. But right now the game plan is to see if Violet City wants to jump back into the war and start dealing with this kind of eastern portion, basically. Okay? So from there, going down to the Viridian City front, what's going on here? So in Three Pine Grove, we're hopefully going to finish this up next turn. That means a schoolgirl every single turn. That'll be great. Really, really, really fantastic, right? That's the plan. And until we kind of establish that and we get that, Yazar is going to be hanging out there, okay? So extra money, we're bringing in nurses both here. Basically, we're bringing in nurses to try to deal with a bunch of these wounds, right? So we're going to get a nurse here. We're bringing in a nurse from Viridian City. We're buying a bunch. We're recruiting a bunch, right? We're going to actually start recruiting into theory, right? The theory here is we're wanting to start recruiting into things that are not just specifically designed to fight the rock snakes. Because as soon as we are done fighting the rock snakes, and maybe even before we finish with the rock snakes, we're going to have to be careful. We might have to fight Ekritique, right? The AI might just come at us. Celadon might come at us. Atlantis has been making overtures for 20 turns, right? Things might turn ugly with Violet City. I've been in communication with Vermilion, and things have been good there, but who knows, right? And Pewter is this just massive beast off in the distance that, eventually something's going to have to happen there. Maybe not with me, but something's going to have to happen. So we're starting to try to turn some of our recruitment. Don't get me wrong, we're still going to be doing a whole bunch of shield white belts and obviously prodigies back in Cyanwood. But or Cyanwood, as my girlfriend is criticizing me on now, which is fine. I don't give a shit. Whichever way you say it, it doesn't matter to me. That's fine. So we're still gonna rely on our Machamps, obviously, right? But we want to start padding in other things that we can. Okay? So in Viridian City, for example, we are going to like we had planned earlier. We're going to try to get some stealth squads going. With these TIE Rogues, we're going to try to up these boys, and we're padding out with Team Rocket, Machamps, or Machops, because the reason we're doing them instead of regular ones is not because of the gold. I don't care about the gold. It's because the recruitment points are what is limiting us over here. So we could get 2 of these instead of 1 of these. Okay. And in Viridian City, we're running into kind of like a little commander transportation issue. So I'm doing that. I'm pulling out. I'm also getting Battle Girl rubies in a number of locations because I want to increase. They've been very useful, I feel like, with the instilling uprisings, and I think that's going to be a very good thing for us. But also, I want to start having a little bit of a spy network and seeing what's going on with the rest of the world. So we're probably going to have a couple turns where we dedicate to that. We're also getting some commanders like down here in Mountains of Madness just for random shits and giggles. We're going to bounce him off of the curtain wall just to see what's there. So we're doing a couple of different things like that. Over in the Cyanwood City front, we are, like I said, doing commanders for unit mobility, actual army commanders, and rubies. We're continuing to put our Ampharos factories online. We've actually got some Heracrosses in the mix here, and Heracrosses I'm actually interested in specifically in the fight against Ekrutik City. I found when I played a single player campaign with Ekrutik, and I found Heracrosses to be extremely dangerous in large numbers. So if we get these guys and we buff these guys, right, and they start pin missiling like machine guns, they have 20 of these things with 3 attacks each. That's 60 missiles streaking through the air. They don't hit very hard, right? But they can blanket an enemy side if you put them in a front line. And then this Megahorn actually hits really hard comparatively. And this is at strength 14. If we put like strength of giant buffs on them, which we can do very easily, right? Then this is pretty substantial. So this is something that we can do. Again, we spent all this money because we had extra money. I don't know that we're going to do a lot of this, but I'd love to have like maybe 30 or 40 of these guys at the ready. And they're not super expensive. They're 20 gold per year. That's not terrible. So, okay, what else do we got? We're doing a whole bunch of movement around here, bringing Chuck back into Cyanwood, bringing Shaikal back into Cyanwood, moving Modik up, etc., right? But really, that's all kind of whatever. We are running out of flyers, so we're doing a combination of things. We're going to actually recruit some more psychics, probably up to 5, or to where we're up to 5, right? Because we've got 3 psychics summoning allies every turn right now. So that would give us 5 Abras per turn. I'm not super impressed by these Shield Alakazams, to be honest. I think they're broken. I don't think they work the way that they're supposed to work. But stat-wise, they're not bad, right? 16 HP, regeneration, some interesting bonuses. They're definitely useful, right? So we might as well use them. We can. What? Oh, we got a new Machampion. He's a failure. He's an utter failure. We are going to kit him out. By the way, basically, we're gonna do a Burning Pearl, a Girdle of Might, a Crown of Lead, and what else are we doing? We're probably gonna put a Flask of Holy Water on him, so he doesn't have to bless. He can just do some other buffs, and then we're just gonna send him in against things. He's probably gonna die. I don't care. This is very cheap gear. This is literally 4 gems worth of gear on this Machampion. We're just gonna go let him be a fighty boy and see how it goes. We are forging a Skull of Fire, and this is specifically for Rex. So Rex gets a Skull of Fire. He becomes Fire 4. That means he can forge a Fire Helmet, which takes him up to Fire 5. Right? At Fire 5, we have some options, but realistically, one of the options is we boost him. Right? We just we have him Empower in Fire. He goes up to Fire 6, and we are good to go. Alternatively, right, after next turn, right, Cameron might just make another Ring of Sorcery, and then in like 3 or 4 turns, Cameron might just make a Ring of Wizardry. And then we can pass the Ring of Wizardry around. We won't have to use gems for boosting, which means that we could be 4 or 5 turns away from having a Eternal Pyre go up. And really, like, Eternal Pyre going up it's just a matter of like getting that additional gem income, because we saw, right? Everyone saw this, right? Boom! And that's a big deal, right? Getting that amount of gem income is a big deal. Even if it's something that, we would obviously rather it be in Earth, but even if it's Fire, that amount of gem income is a very big option for us. Alternative or otherwise, right? We're just doing our normal Lightless Lantern, Owl Quill, that type of stuff, etc., etc. We are trying to recruit another one of these Machampions. We want another option for H3 aside from Chuck. That's kind of a weird limitation that we have right now. If we could get into the water, we could fix that limitation very easily with Bishop Fish, but we can't do that right now. And I sincerely doubt Atlantis would even consider in any way, shape, form, or fashion allowing us a province to do water shit with. And the water is this is legitimately it. That's all the water on the map. I was hopeful that like maybe one of these, but no. This isn't actually a pond. It's just graphically interesting, unfortunately. So we're kind of stuck there. Okay. What is our plan? Since we're no longer doing Earthblood Deepwell, I've been thinking about this for a while. I've had a while to think about it. Since we're no longer doing Earthblood Deepwell, we have a plan now. Okay? And that plan is we are bringing Simios back to Cyanwood City. Or over to Cyanwood City. And we're going to put some boots on him. Probably make him Earth 6. We don't necessarily have to do that, though. But one of the first things we're going to do is we are going to try next turn, because we're going to have enough. We are going to have enough gems for this. I'm going to do a King of Elemental Earth, and this is a test, right? It's a fucking expensive test, but it's a test, and it's gonna do a few things. If it is successful, okay. If it is successful, great. We get a King of Elemental Earth. There are only 2 of those in the game, or can only be 2 of those in the game. So super great, super combatant chassis, fantastic, wonderful, awesome. Okay. If it fails, we know that Pewter City has 7 enchantment because of Earthblood Deepwell and 8 conjuration because of King of Elemental Earth. Right? There is no one else in the game right now that is going to, I think, be able to cast Kings of Elemental Earth. I think Celadon could potentially. I just don't, like, they have the research, you know? I just don't see them having the paths. We look at Pretenders, Celadons up here. They've got nothing on their Venusaur champions. They've got nothing over here, right? This would have to have been from their god, and that's only if their god had. So I don't think it's very likely, right? And we've seen nothing to suggest that Violet City has rushed up Conjuration 8, because they have abysmal research, right? Score graphs, research. I don't even know that Olivine City has enough research to actually have a level 8, right? Pewter City might. Pewter City actually might have 2, like a level 7 with enchantment, and then level 8 with conjuration. It's possible that that is the case. But I don't think it's likely. If we take a look at ours, right? Who knows? Who knows? Right? So this is the reason why we're doing this. This is the reason why I'm willing, 2 reasons, actually, why I'm willing to make this 50 Earth Gem gamble. One is because I think if he was going to do that, right, he would likely try to do Earthblood Deepwell first, just like I was going to do, right? You want to do the Earthblood, you don't want to spend 50 gems on 2 Kings of Elemental Earth. You don't want to spend 100 gems on 2 Kings of Elemental Earth and then cast Earthblood Deepwell, right? You want to cast Earthblood Deepwell with the 100 gems and then use the gem income to do a King of Elemental Earth, right? So if he just did it last turn, right, or this turn, technically, you know what I should have done is I shouldn't have moved Simios out of here. I should have left him in Saffron City and just immediately cast it. But the problem is I didn't have the gems now, so I was like, I'll wait 1 turn and see about the gems, and then we'll go from there. So we'll see, right? It's possible that I actually shot myself in the foot and I wasted a turn and didn't get it because I wasted a turn. But it's also possible that he doesn't have Conjuration 8, or he's taking a few turns to store up gems first, or what have you. So we're going to see if we can get a King of Elemental Earth. And if we don't, we know what Pewter City's research is, because he's got enough to have a 7 and an 8, but he doesn't have enough to have much more than that. Okay? So that'll tell us something. And here's the other reason why I'm not super about casting this and it not being a guaranteed success, right? If I cast this for 50 gems and I lose the 50 gems, that sucks, right? But I have 11 Earth gems already, or 11 gems per turn right now. And we talked about this a while ago. We talked about an alternate plan to the Earthblood Deepwell, and we're going to look at it real quick. Not this. And it's this. It's this Future Fist exploration. And the reason why I couldn't do it earlier is because I didn't have the Earth, right? Like, I can only get up to 4 with Earth Boots. So having an Earth 5 out of the gate allows me to start going around and casting Future Fist Exploration. And so this is, it basically adds an Earth Gem. It adds a magic site to the province. And it allows you to recruit Hitmonchan's, which we don't give a shit about. But it also gives you 1 Earth Gem per month. Okay, and we did this, we looked at this like 20 turns ago, right? And it just wasn't feasible because we didn't have anyone to do it with. And we were gonna, we went through the whole, like, we're gonna blood hunt and get a bloodstone, right? And then we got sidetracked with the Olivine City War, etc., etc. Now we've got Steelixes. We don't have to worry about that anymore, okay? And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So maybe I don't count Berman Highs, but just in these areas, right? We've got 10 of these sites. So after this whole, like, this is why I'm not super worried about it, because after this whole test, right? Whether it succeeds or fails, we're either gonna get a King of Elemental Earth, or we're gonna get knowledge of what Pewter City has, okay, research-wise. And we're gonna get knowledge that he has 2. If it fails, we're gonna know, okay, Pewter City has 2 Kings of Elemental Earth. Good to know. We'll keep that in mind, right? If he doesn't, we get 1. Great. But after that, I'm literally gonna do this. I'm gonna go, Simios goes here. That's a turn. The next turn, and this, I can do this because I get 11 Earth Gems already each month. The next turn, that's a site, so that's +1 gem. So every other turn, we're gonna start guaranteeing ourselves 1 gem. 1 gem. 1 gem. 1 gem. 1 gem. 1 gem, 1 gem, again, 1 gem, 1 gem, 1 gem, and that's just our territory. So that's 10 in our territory. If we count Olivine City's territory, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Not even counting over here with Violet City. 15, 16, 17. Like, and obviously, right, that's 50 billion turns from now, because every single one of these takes 2 turns to set up, obviously, right? But that is a crazy amount of investment. Don't get me wrong, but what have I said over and over and over and over again? It's not the bank that you have, right? Sure, to get to 10 gems, we're spending 100 gems, right? So every single one of these that we do is a 10 turn payoff. But it's fucking worth it, right? So this is what we're gonna have Simios do. We're probably gonna put some. We're probably gonna leave these boots of quickness on him. I don't know that we're gonna do anything else. We might leave all this gear on him. We might completely gear him out so that he can stay protected and do whatever he needs to do. But and actually, so here's the other side. So I gotta fuck. So there's the we're actually I'm 1 turn ahead of my plan. So Simios is gonna come here, right? The next turn, right? We're gonna send out, because this is how you have to do it. I have to have a lab in the location, because you gotta have a lab in the location. So next turn I'm gonna send out. I'm not sure who I'm sending out, but next turn I'm sending out a mage, right? And we're gonna start every turn. The plan is gonna be to try to stay 1 turn ahead of Simios on where we're going, right? But it's gonna be go there, build the lab. The next turn, Simios shows up and casts the spell. Then they're already gone building a lab at another location. This is gonna get expensive, right? This is why Earthblood Deepwell was kind of like the original better option, and this is like a bootlegged Earthblood Deepwell. But I think it's a worthwhile investment that we can take into turned, 75, 80, that type of thing, and it's going to give us a substantial boost to our gem economy in the long run. And that's the plan. So I've talked about a bunch of stuff. One last thing that I haven't talked about in a while is our research and what our research goals are. You might have seen previously we were rushing up to Alteration 9. We're going to deviate from that just a little bit, because I've realized I have these big banks that I was going to do something with, but I don't have to do anything with now, and I don't mind risking things for the biscuit, so we're going to finish out Alteration 6. Then we're going to do Evocation 5 for Storm specifically, because that was something that was on our plate that we were looking at as an option for helping us, specifically against the guitarists. But then we're going to run up Thaumaturgy 7. And the reason why we're running up Thaumaturgy is because at 6, or this is enchantment, at 6, we start, at 7, we start getting quests, right? We got the Moltres quest, the Ho-Oh quest, Zapdos, Rayquaza, Lugia, Kyogre, etc., etc., etc. And we can actually cast a bunch of these. Honestly. And Kyogre can't be cast underwater, right? Lugia can't be cast underwater. So these are, and here's the other thing, these can only be cast by Taskmasters. So this is actually kind of that weird situation. So basically, only my Lutadoras and only my Rex can cast these different things. So we're going to be able to have fire pretty easily. We're going to be able to have water pretty easily. We're going to be able to swing earth on some of these, right? Wait, are these guys taskmasters? These guys are not taskmasters. Good to know. So basically, we're gonna rush up 7 because we've got a bunch of these weird, interesting quests that could get us legendaries. We might not. Someone else might already be here. Celadon might be here. They've had really crazy research. Pewter might be up here because we know. Shit. No, that's enchantment. So they might be here. Who knows? Atlantis might be over here. Who knows? Right? But there's a whole bunch of stuff here that is pretty interesting. And once we're there, we might actually jump up to level 8 as well because there's even more stuff. Inti, Latias, Suicune, Regice, Regirock, Registeel, etc., etc. And we can do a lot of these. Mewtwo, Mew. Actually, I think those are probably going to be impossible for us because our god is not a taskmaster. So, but... Ooh, are schoolgirls taskmasters? They are not. Okay, so those are probably going to be impossible for us, but who knows, right? I think for the first time in a long time in this game, I've been having a great time. Don't get me wrong, but for the first time in a long time in this game, I've started thinking about something other than just killing rock snakes. It is, and you guys got to understand, right? These are like, it's like 2 or 3 days a turn for this game. So maybe a day and a half to 3 days, depending on average, pauses and things like that, right? I've been playing this game for 6 months, 7 months, maybe 8 months at this point, right? And I've been in this war with Olivine City for like 30 turns. It's been like 5 or 6 months of my life fighting rock snakes. So to suddenly have this moment where I'm like, oh yeah, there's a reason why I was so fascinated with this mod, why I thought it was so cool, is because there's all this other stuff, right? All these, different Pokemon and all these different quests and uniques and so we're gonna try some of that stuff out. We're gonna see if we can't get into that area. We're gonna try some stuff out. We're gonna go from there. Fingers crossed. I'm probably speaking too soon. I'm probably going to look at the next turn and Olivine's going to have killed like 30 of my provinces. I'm just going to cry. And I'm going to go back to figuring out how to kill rock snakes. But until then, this is the turn. I've had a good time. And I will see you next time.